might not use the term job satisfaction on a regular basis, but it seems to be a popular topic of conversation. It's the formal term we use to describe our feelings about our job. It's interesting, at least to a nerd like me, to realize that job satisfaction is less than a chapter in the book, because it does seem to be a popular topic. I have a few hypotheses about why it doesn't receive more attention in our text. One's a little backwards, but here goes. Job satisfaction is a popular topic in day-to-day life and in research. It definitely is a good example of where the scientist-practitioner model can be really helpful. That said, there's a lot of information available, and job satisfaction could probably be a separate class. When there's that much information about a topic, though, it can be tricky to summarize, so the authors of our textbook might have found it easier to summarize as part of a larger concept. Otherwise, they might not know where to start or to end in highlighting the important ideas. One specific topic that's gotten a lot of attention in research is the antecedents of job satisfaction. In other words, what contributes to job satisfaction. The Society for Human Resource Management periodically surveys working adults about their satisfaction. They ask about what's important and how satisfied individuals are with the important contributions to job satisfaction. The most recent data I can find is from 2017. The fact that they survey periodically suggests that the contributions and their importance varies with time. The full report in the readings for this module talks more about that. It might not be a surprise to see that compensation, or pay, is near the top of the list of important contributors, and that the number of participants who said they were very satisfied with it was the lowest. It's interesting to note, though, that respectful treatment of employees was slightly more important than compensation, and trust between employees and management was equal with pay. The contributors identified in the SHRM survey are representative of many of the topics in the box on the right side of this slide, which is from the figure in the current version of the textbook. Together, these two sources help us understand that job satisfaction is influenced by many parts of an individual's experience at work. The job and role influences help us understand part of the reason that satisfaction within a particular organization can vary from employee to employee. So why would we want to improve satisfaction? The other part of the graphic in the book gives a pretty good summary of how job satisfaction influences behavior, and therefore why we would care enough to want to improve satisfaction. This list is based on research and seems pretty consistent with popular conversation about work. One difference from the popular conversation, though, is that we could argue that this list is more concerned about the consequences for the employer, not the employee. I'll talk more about the employee's perspective in a recording exploring the connection between satisfaction and stress. That thought about the consequences for the employer versus the employee is a good reminder to remember that correlation does not equal causation. In other words, when we think about the list of things that are influenced by satisfaction, it's important to remember that there might be other variables involved, and we don't know the direction of influence. For example, Judge and colleagues reviewed studies about job satisfaction and performance. And at that point, which was several years ago, the research provides support for 7 possible relationships. The first 3 models in the graphic, which is from the article, represent the fact that there's some evidence that satisfaction influences performance, some evidence performance influences satisfaction, and some evidence that they influence one another. Models 4 and 5 represent findings that include a third variable influencing the relationship, while Model 6 represents evidence that there is not a relationship, and Model 7 suggests we need to think about other variables influenced by job satisfaction and by performance. So what's the point? Well, there are a few of them, but the main one is that the relationship between satisfaction and behavior seems to be complicated. It's probably not a surprise to see the variables that influence job satisfaction. It's pretty high level of inter-rater reliability, so to speak, between popular views and research. Research can help us understand satisfaction in a way that's more actionable, though, by helping us better define the influences on satisfaction and consider how they influence behavior. And considering how job satisfaction influences behavior helps us realize that it might be a little more complicated than we realize.